How to fit coving. Coving comes in a variety of widths and materials to create a decorative join between the wall and ceiling. See our online guide or leaflet for advice on planning and preparation and aftercare. You'll find a full list of tools and materials you'll need at the end of this video. Sections of coving are typically joined in the corners of the room using a pair of 45-degree mitre cuts. You can use a mitre box or a coving mitre tool to achieve these cuts. However, if you choose coving that offers pre-cut internal and external joints, you'll only need to make simpler square cuts. Start by checking the manufacturer's instructions to see how far the edges of the coving should be fixed from the joint between the wall and the ceiling. Go around the room and draw pairs of marks onto the wall and ceiling at 500mm intervals. Join up the marks with a long spirit level, so you've got one continuous horizontal line running around the room on the wall and another line on the ceiling. These will be your guidelines for fixing the coving. It's important to make sure that the line on your wall is perfectly horizontal, rather than rising and falling with any unevenness in the ceiling, as it's best to fit your coving straight and then fill the gaps in afterwards. Make sure the area between the lines is free from dust and loose plaster. If the surfaces have previously been painted, sealed, or are very porous, prime with a PVA adhesive and then allow to dry. Once the primer is dry, use a retractable knife to score the wall above the line. This will help the adhesive to bond firmly. If you're using mitre cuts to create your corner pieces, measure the distance you need and then mark the length onto the wall edge side of the piece of coving. Then, lightly mark the intended direction of the mitre cuts. This will depend on whether it's an internal or external corner. Firmly secure the mitre box into your workbench. Place the coving into the mitre box with the wall edge at the top of the box. Use a fine-toothed panel saw to make the mitre cuts at each end. If need be, lightly sand until smooth. To fit the coving, start by holding the cut piece in position to check that it's a good fit. Apply a generous line of the correct adhesive to the top and bottom edges of the coving. It's best to use enough so that a little will ooze out to help fill any small gaps. Align the coving with the lines you drew on the wall and ceiling, then work your way along, carefully pressing the coving into position. If you're fitting to a long wall, then you may need to ask a friend for help when doing this. It's a good idea to lightly hammer panel pins into the wall to hold the coving in place whilst the adhesive sets. If you're adding coving to a long wall, you may need to join sections together. To do this, make a pair of 45-degree mitre cuts in the same direction so that the two sections will overlap at the mitered joint. Apply adhesive to both mitre cuts and then join. If you're using pre-cut corners, be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions on the preferred order of fitting corners and straight lengths of coving. Fill any remaining gaps between adjoining pieces of coving or between the coving and the wall or ceiling by squeezing in a little extra adhesive. Finally, remove any excess adhesive with a scraper or a damp cloth to leave a clean and even join. Here is the list of tools you'll need to fit your coving. And here are the materials you'll use. And this is the recommended safety equipment needed.